The night market in ESO is undeniably difficult. With these 9 tips, though, you can make it a whole lot easier. Hey everyone, it's Spopes. After having a day to reflect, I dove into the night market again today to determine once and for all how difficult it is, and to put together some tips to help people with it who are struggling. So in this video, I'm going to provide my top 9 tips for excelling in the night market, for staying alive, completing your objectives, and most importantly, getting enough favor to complete your achievements, unlock the other parts of the Night's Den house, and to come away from ESO's new event zone feeling successful and accomplished. Before we dive in, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, please like and hype this video, and consider supporting me by becoming a member, picking up some merch, or leaving a donation. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Let's dive into my top 9 tips for surviving and thriving in the night market, the new and extremely difficult event zone in the Elder Scrolls Online. So as I mentioned in my live stream where I explored the night market for the first time, it's my conclusion that the main 2 reasons people are struggling in the night market is either lack of experience with this difficult type of content, or they're using a build that isn't up to muster. So my first and most important tip is to check your build before it wrecks itself. Not all builds in the Elder Scrolls Online are made equal. That's something I had to learn myself the hard way over the years. I just wanted to do what I felt like doing, but doing so left me woefully unprepared for the challenges the game can pose. So if you're having a hard time in the night market, my first suggestion is to get a new build. You don't necessarily have to start from scratch. You can just optimize the build you have. But again, as I mentioned in the stream, I am really not that good of a player, and my build is definitely not S tier. But either solo or in a group, I've done just fine in the night market. My Dragon Knight build, which I'm linking above, can pretty easily clear trash mobs on its own. My skill does play a role, but not that huge of a role, honestly. I have that build, I have a Templar build, I even have a pure sorcerer build you can try using. All of those builds are linked in the description, and you can also get to them through my ESO builds playlist. So this is not meant as an insult. I'm not trying to put people down, but just based on my analysis, having a subpar build is one of the main throttles holding people back from enjoying the night market to the fullest. So definitely optimize the build you have. That means upgrading your gear all to gold quality, having good food and potions, choosing the right sets, etc. The night market is definitely doable either solo or in a group, and having the right build is the first step toward enjoying the content the way it was meant to be enjoyed. So again, the other reason I identified that people might not be having the good time in the night market they were expecting is simply lack of practice with difficult content. So I'm going to mention basically the same advice at the end of the video, but I do want to mention right off the bat that the best way to approach the market is to try, and if you fail, to try and try again. Even for me, it took me about a half hour or so to get used to the new level of difficulty. I've seen people talking about this jumping into the night market solo, without any preparation, and expecting to just be able to clear it no problem. That's really just not going to happen, guys. The night market is just too hard to allow that kind of playstyle. But believe me, if you have a good build and you stick with it, the practice and the play skill you gain from just doing the content will be enough to carry you through at least clearing trash mobs. And maybe even with enough practice, you'll be able to take down brazen bosses all by yourself. And now for my third tip, and again, I'm not trying to be insulting, but I've seen enough comments and talking about this that I feel like it's worth mentioning. Some people just aren't utilizing the inherent mobility mechanics in the game. I've seen a lot of people dying, and sometimes the reason has been they're simply not dodge rolling. Dodge rolling is one of the core mobility mechanics in the game. At least on PlayStation, it's very simple. You just block, and then you press the jump button. And whichever direction you're moving, you will roll in that direction. So again, this tip is not meant to be insulting. I just know that there are a lot of new players out there who really haven't done much with the game yet. So you might not know how to dodge roll. But if an enemy is attacking, if there's a red circle under you, dodge rolling is usually the quickest method for getting out of harm's way. It's better than blocking, which only mitigates some of the damage. So if you're dying simply because you're not able to get away from enemies in time, practice your dodge roll, learn how to get away from enemies using that method, and you'll be golden. Another reason I've noticed that people keep dying in the night market is they're simply not managing their resources correctly. Given the fact that the people in charge of combat at ZOS don't even know how to manage their resources, it's understandable if this hasn't been properly explained to you. But you can regenerate your main resources by doing heavy attacks, and if you do decide to copy my Dragon Knight build, it is a hybrid build, which means it uses both magicka and stamina. So what I do when I find that I'm running low on resources is I simply switch to a skill that uses the other resource. So if I'm running low on magicka, I start using stamina skills, or vice versa. Also, the Draconic Power passive Storm Voice does restore to you quite a huge chunk of resource when you use your ultimate. So simply make sure you've invested in Storm Voice, use your ultimate whenever you can, and that's another great way to restore resources. Also, of course, you can use potions. I tend to just use the Crown Tri-Restoration Potion because I have tons of them and they work just fine, but really any tripot will work for you. If you are running out of resource, just use your potion, and then you'll be able to heal and do damage and avoid enemies again. Another thing worth mentioning is that enemies in the night market only follow you a very short distance. So even if you aggro them, simply going a short distance away is enough to be safe. See, they already stopped following me. And there's a new group now, but that group stopped following me. I was able to get away. They only follow you for about 20 meters or so. See, that other group that attacked me is also gone now. So in most cases, you can just run through the night market, aggroing enemies, and then find a safe spot that's a short distance away, and they'll stop following you. It's also entirely possible to sneak past enemies in the night market. This is easier if you are a vampire or a nightblade or both, but even if it's not a completely basic character, you can go into hiding and stay away. And while we're here, let's watch this guy. He's going to solo this whole group. We're going to prove that you can solo groups of trash mobs, assuming this guy doesn't die. I probably should help, but I'm just not going to, just for demonstration purposes. Looks like he's got a Lava Whip Dragon Knight build, and there we go. He's already taken down some enemies. He hasn't been in danger once. Only a couple more to go. And he's done well enough now. I'm going to jump in and help. There we go, buddy. Nice work. See? It's possible. So anyway, yeah, just avoid enemies. You can do most of the quests in the districts simply by running around and interacting with objects. You don't have to fight the enemies in your way to get to these objects. And if you do die, just respawn and try again. But yeah, just in summation, just sneaking and avoiding enemies, or just kiting them until they lose interest in you, is a great way to improve your survivability in the night market. Now for the next tip, I was pretty annoyed at first by how long it took to grind favor. You actually don't get favor in most cases by killing trash mobs. Occasionally an orb of favor will spawn, but that's it. The best way to get favor in the night market is to do daily quests. You can get some of these from the Starlit Plaza, but there are also tons of daily quests you will find in each of the districts. Dailies give quite a bit of favor, and some of them are shareable, and most of these dailies do not require you to kill any monsters whatsoever. You just go around and find things, turn them in at a certain location. So if you're simply sneaking and avoiding enemies, just getting these quests is a great way to get favor and avoid one of the major annoyances of the night market grind. Even Brazen and Argent bosses don't give as much favor compared to dailies, so simply just focus on your daily quests and you'll be good to go. And check it out, here's another guy who is soloing trash mobs. He got them all, there's only one left. Time for me to help. But see guys, it is possible. Just 2 random dudes came in here and soloed the first trash pack, and oh, there's an orb of favor. Nice. Well, that was convenient. Okay, and now it's time to get into a couple controversial tips. So as you just saw, it is possible to solo trash mobs. I think I've pretty definitively proved that at this point. But the night market is also definitely going to be easier if you play with others. So I did already mention this in my guide to preparing for the night market, but one of the best ways to find other people to play with in the night market is to simply join a guild. In my guild personally, we only have about 100 members, but so far that has been enough to put together a group at basically any time of day. It's usually possible to find at least 12 people who want to group up. And with bigger guilds that have 500 members, it'll definitely be even easier. So yes, I know there are a lot of people out there who say they're introverts, so they only want to play solo, but they still somehow want to get through everything in the night market, get all their rewards. And to some degree, that's not possible. As I've shown, you can definitely clear trash mobs relatively easily solo, but if you really want to get the full night market experience, you will need to play with others. And joining a guild is the first step on that journey for most of us. It's the best way to have a built-in group of people who are going to be able to help you with the night market any time of day. And even if you don't want to join a guild, there is also the Group Finder. This is a built-in feature in the Elder Scrolls Online. You simply go to Activity Finder, Group Finder, and then you can either find a group or make your own. There's even an Event Zone section under Group Finder, and there are quite a few groups already in here of people who are tackling the night market. So again, some of the night market you may be able to do solo, but definitely not all of it, unless you're an absolute god at the game. But with the combination of a guild and the Group Finder, you'll definitely be able to put together a 12-man group, and at that point, when you have 12 people working together, basically everything in the night market is pretty easy. What happened with me, for instance, is we almost had a 12-man group from the guild earlier in the day, and then we simply went in Group Finder and filled the other couple of slots. So just have a guild, maybe have a few guilds, and then use Group Finder, and you'll be able to put together a 12-man group pretty easily. Now, my last tip is something I also talked about in my most recent video, my review of the night market. There are many things in life that simply require persistence, and the night market is one of them. I already did kind of mention this in my section about getting more practice, but it's just important to remind people who are struggling to not give up. Fix your build, get some more practice, find some people to play with, learn some of the basic mobility mechanics in the game, and there's no reason you won't be able to get everything you're meant to be able to get out of the night market. I've seen a lot of people now say things like, I jumped into the night market, I tried it once, I went through the doors, I got killed, I'm never touching this again. Some people have even said they're deleting the game over this, they're canceling ESO Plus, which I personally find to be a hysterical overreaction. But I've also seen plenty of reasonable people saying they're simply discouraged. It was too hard at first, they don't know what to do. So hopefully this video will help you with some tips as to what to do. But really, more important than any of the individual tips I've covered so far, is this final tip. Simply not to give up, to keep going, to get better, to find people to play with, and eventually you'll be able to experience the night market in all of its glory. So those are my tips for having more fun in the night market and not dying. In the end, I really feel like it comes down to optimizing your approach and persisting, learning from each death, getting better at the game, using the tools at your disposal better, making sure you have potions and food, etc. Simply not worrying too much about clearing mobs, just completing quests if the mobs are too hard. But again, remembering this is not impossible to solo, at least the trash mobs. And really, more than anything, it is important to say this is not meant to be soloable. The devs were very clear from the very beginning. This is meant to be group content. And for those who are upset about it, I have a couple things to say. First of all, this is free. And it's also not the only content we're getting this year. In the next update, there are going to be 2 quest lines that are fully soloable. There's basically stories. The Thieves Guild quest line and the Sheogorath quest line are coming. So I really feel like ZOS is striking a good balance here between group content that rewards veteran players who like playing in groups and solo-friendly content for people who don't. But to be perfectly honest, I just kind of refuse to believe that anyone is incapable of playing with a group. None of the groups I've played with have required you to be on mic. Most people aren't even chatting. You can simply follow the group around, leech off of them, work together, kind of, but no extreme level of socialization is required. And honestly, if you're so into solo play you don't want to play with groups at all, there's plenty of other content to play in the game. Nobody is forcing you to play the night market, but if you want to, you can definitely do it. And I really hope these tips helped you in that process. So in the comments, let me know what you think about the tips I put forward, whether they helped you with the night market, whether you're still not going to play ESO's new event zone, which again, I totally respect. The night market isn't for everyone. There's no reason you should have to play it. But do give me your thoughts on the night market in general, whether you still think it's too hard, whether you're going to give it another shot, or whether you absolutely love it. Go ahead and comment away with all your thoughts and feelings on this new event zone. And before you go, please remember to support the channel by liking, hyping, and commenting. I'd really appreciate it if you took that support a step further by becoming a member, picking up some merch, or leaving a donation. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. We're going to finish up as always with a prayer to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Lord, thank you for the night market and thank you for my community. Lord, please empower this video to help people excel in the night market, to enjoy it to the fullest. Please empower any players who are struggling with simply the will to keep going. Give them your holy inspiration, empower them to keep trying. And Lord, do be with ZOS as they deal with all the feedback from this event. Help them make wise decisions in optimizing it or not changing it at all. Just be with this studio, Lord, and be with my community. Help those brothers and sisters in Christ come closer to you, and also draw to you all those recently departed souls across the world. I give you all glory for my channel and for the video today, Lord. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Again, thanks for watching, everyone. Do leave your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go, please remember to like, hype, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, turn on notifications, because I'll be back soon with new content.